station, WTIM.
Welcome to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. In People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. You can find those streams online on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com Facebook or on YouTube at WTIM TV. Well, it's holiday season, and I have Central Illinois Food Bank Public Relations Manager Tim Kersenikas here in the studio. And, you know, Halloween kind of signals the end of the spooky season, and now it's the turkey season. And well, food banks, it's kind of the time to shine for a lot of food banks, right, Tim?
That's right, absolutely. Well, we're getting ready for Thanksgiving, obviously, like you mentioned. It's such a great time to come together with friends and family, and as we come out of a couple of years of a pandemic, we really kind of seem to have remember just how much food can really bring people together, and that was something we really missed, during those pandemic years. So. Now that we can get together with friends and family again, it's so important to also think of your friends and neighbors in our communities who might not have the ability to provide meals for their families at the holidays. So that's what we're looking ahead to and getting ready for. So,
what is food insecurity like in the Central Illinois area? How serious is it?
Yeah, so within our 21 county service area that Central Illinois Food Bank serves, nearly 100,000 people are facing some type of hunger or food insecurity. That includes 1 in 8 adults and 1 in 6 children. So, and are partnering with 150 partner agencies across those 21 counties. We're working every day to meet our neighbors where they're at and provide food for their families. So.
And I know you have a lot of different ways that you are meeting folks where they're at and where they need. So any examples that you'd like to point out here?
Yeah, definitely. So, during the COVID pandemic, we really shifted to kind of a drive-through food distribution model where, we're allowed to go into communities and make a immediate, quick impact where families can drive through the line and get pre-packed boxes of groceries, including a lot of healthy grocery items. So just last week, we had another drive-through distribution in Springfield at the Boys and Girls Club there. And it was generously sponsored by the Arby's Foundation. So everyone who came through the line got fresh protein, produce, and dairy. And so that's just one way where we kind of adapted and shifted as a result of the pandemic. We've continued to plan and host those events as, the capability for us to do so becomes available. And especially around the holiday times, we're gonna be looking to have some more of those as well. So
I would imagine that's all over the Central Illinois area and all the 21 counties that you cover.
That's right. So whenever we see that a community is facing some more need, or just like Emmett said, whenever we have the capability, say some donated product or some additional grant funding that comes in that allows us to host those distributions, we go out and do them. So. But in the meantime, we're continuing to work with our 150 partner agencies, like I mentioned, like right here in Taylorville with the Taylorville Food Pantry and other agencies to continue to meet our neighbors where they're at and provide for them. So
obviously, outside of, like you mentioned, receiving grants or large donations of food, what kind of situations of need arise that allow you or maybe kind of raise your ears to say, hey, this community needs a food drive? Like, I guess, what kind of thing are you looking for when that happens?
Yeah, well, the thing to keep in mind, obviously, being here in Central Illinois is that, a lot of our service area is rural areas, and, 91% of the counties with the highest rates of food insecurity in the United States are rural counties. So a lot of times it comes down to an issue of access. Obviously, whenever you say a grocery store, which we've seen quite a few grocery stores around the area close down over the past 2 years because of struggles related to the pandemic or other reasons, even right here in Taylorville recently with the Kroger. You have to, consider that access that so many families in our service area might not have reliable access to be able to go down the street to the local grocery store. The nearest grocery store may be, upwards of a half hour to an hour away. So those are really kind of the primary situations where we look to potentially host drive-through food distributions or really, allocate some additional resources if needed to that community. Right. So
in short, like just for local relevancy situations, I mean, Kroger is kind of like point A of situation that the Central Illinois Food Bank would pay attention to and say, hey, they don't have the access they used to have.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So yeah, and then like I said, I think last time when I was into, I mean, we just recently saw that happen in the community of Whitehall, where their Kroger had closed down due to difficulties from the pandemic, and that was literally the community's only grocery store. So we immediately planned to drive through food distribution and continue to work with our partner agencies in that area as well. So
right. I mean, thank goodness for the Walmart and the Aldi here. And even there's another store here that's, I forget, I'm neglecting to remember the name at this point, but I think the biggest gripe in the community right now is more so that, yes, there are grocers, but they're not fresh food grocers like Kroger. And I feel like that's a big part of the accessibility. Yes, there's a Walmart, but they're not necessarily focused on food. They're focused on everything because it's a Walmart. Right. And that's part of their business model.
Exactly.
So that's the kind of accessibility kind of thing we're talking about here.
Exactly. And not only that, because it's just not enough to have access to regular food, but just that additional healthy, nutritious food. Right. And that's something that we really try to focus on at the Central Illinois Food Bank. Because, a lot of times too, when a rural community might have, grocery store closed down, well, they might still have, a general store or, convenience stores, but as you know, those are quick, convenient snack items. Mostly you don't have your fresh protein, produce, and dairy. So, last year when we distributed almost 12 million pounds of food, almost 6 million pounds of that being that healthy, fresh, nutritious product, and something we're always continuing to try to source more of and provide more options for our neighbors. So
absolutely. And that goes along with your categorization of, green foods. Pick them all the time. They're excellent. Do it. They're healthy. They're fresh. Yellow, they're still good for you, but maybe kind of a little bit less. And then red is a treat. Really, just right. I've got it down.
Yep, absolutely.
Where can I find that chart?
Yeah, so information on that is available on our website, centralifoodbank.org. We just put out some information about our new nutrition policy that you're referencing in our last newsletter. So. And like I said, last time when we were talking about it, it really was a true collaborative effort of a lot of partners coming together and really serving as a roadmap for the food bank and our partners in terms of, like I said earlier, providing those best and most nutritious options for our neighbors. We don't want to tell, our neighbors what to eat, but we want to provide those options there for them. So, it was really great to see that come to fruition, and it's important to keep in mind that it's a guidance for us as well as all of us at the food bank, as well as all of us on our day-to-day lives. We all love that red product, but we have to remember, get your fruits and veggies and healthy dairy and protein in there as well. So,
as you approach the holiday season, what do you want listeners to pay attention to when it comes to their local food pantries or food banks?
Yeah, well, definitely keep an eye out for food drives or ways to get involved. Over the past few weeks, we've started to see a lot of the applications to host food drives to benefit the food bank starting to come in. So if you're looking on information potentially on how to host a food drive or looking for a food drive near you, we encourage you to reach out to the food bank. We can direct you to, either your local food pantry or the best way that your community can get involved. So, definitely that, and really consider to your neighbors. If you see someone who maybe doesn't have the capability to provide or have a meal with their family for Thanksgiving or around the holidays, reach out to them. Invite them over to catch up with you, and together we can really support our neighbors and support our communities. So
maybe I'll ask you about some food drive tips and tricks here in a moment. That's Central Illinois Food Bank Public Relations Manager Tim Kursaninkas here on the WTIM Morning Show. More from him after this short time out. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville. You'll always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust. They put people first.
WTIM. In the 48th State Senate District, we need to elect a no-nonsense state senator like Doris Turner. Doris will root out bad policy and plant the seeds for a better future. Electing Doris Turner is the smart choice. Doris Turner has delivered needed tax relief. She expanded the biodiesel sales tax exemption, protecting our economy and environment. Doris voted to protect our reliable energy and property rights. Elect Doris Turner as our state senator. Paid for by Illinois Farm Bureau Activator.
Proven banking solutions are a must for today's business owner. Hi, I'm Jim Adcock with People's Bank and Trust. If your company needs products like online bill pay, remote deposit and payroll direct deposit, or better checking and savings account options, then we need to talk. I can customize our business banking and lending plans to fit your company's needs. Call 888-PBT-1954 or visit bankpbt.com today. We want to be your business banking partner. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Jared White, host of Central Illinois Outdoors, inviting you to find us on the internet. We are up and running at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. You can jump on there to find our Catch of the Week segment. Also, our archive shows. After they air on the weekend, you can find them every Monday at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. So listen when you can. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search Central Illinois Outdoors. Central Illinois Outdoors on Facebook or at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. We'll see you there.
Now's the time to order your new 23 vehicle or choose from over 400 pre-owned vehicles in our family dealerships. General Manager Bill Pinkston here from Landmark in Taylorville, your GM Superstore. You can now order your 23 model car or truck, including the refresh Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra. Let us help you choose what 23 will work for you, or let us find your next pre-owned vehicle from our family of dealerships. And yes, we will still buy your vehicle, even if you don't buy from us. Your GM Superstore is Landmark in Taylorville, online at landmarkintaylorville.com. And remember, you always do better at Landmark.
If you're craving that pumpkin spice flavor this time of year, your farmer-owned dairy, Prairie Farms Dairy, has just the ticket. Right now, you'll find Prairie Farms Dairy pumpkin spice flavored milk that provides the protein you and your family needs. And oh, does it taste good! As the leaves fall and the seasons change, enjoy Prairie Farms Dairy pumpkin spice flavored milk, available in your grocer or convenience store's dairy case. Another protein-packed product from the farm families of Prairie Farms Dairy.
This is Megan Lopez with Nesty's Burger Joint on the south side of the Taylorville Square. To see our menu, click on our icon on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
This is Shawless Nagel, Executive Director at Kimmer Village in Assumption. To learn more about our services, click on our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I have Central Illinois Food Bank Public Relations Manager Tim Kirsaninkas here in the studio right now, and we're talking about food insecurity and the holidays and everything that goes with it. And a big part of holidays and food banks, food drives. You mentioned, Tim, going into break, you've seen an application uptick in recent weeks leading up to the coveted Thanksgiving holiday. And so I wanted to ask you, what are some good tips, or I know, let's see, you could host, organizations can host one. I mean, this place of business could host one, for example. So what are some things to remember when you're hosting a food drive?
Yeah, definitely. So, the first thing that we encourage people to do is definitely to reach out to their local food bank or food pantry and really ask them the products that they're most in need of. On our website at centralilefoodbank.org, you can find a list of all the items that we need. Generally we're looking for canned goods, non-perishables, but and specifically in those products, canned fruit, vegetables within their own juices, or meat preserved in can. And then as well as whole grain pastas, things like that. We also accept household items like paper towels, toothbrushes, toothpaste, things like that. So reach out to your local food bank or food pantry and find out what they need. I say the first one, and then definitely you can also apply to host a food drive with the food bank, and we can direct you to your nearest agency near you. So,
right, you mentioned it. There are a lot of food pantries that accept non-food items. What are some of those that pop up the most?
Yeah, well, definitely, like I said,
paper towels.
So, paper towels, toiletries, diapers are things that we accept a lot of. Exactly. So, anything that you're thinking that, when you're out grocery shopping and you might, have to pick up some extra things like that, those are all items that we stock on our shelves as well. So because you never know when one of your neighbors may be in need of one of those items as well. So that's something that we always like to remind people of too, is that it's not just food, but it's other products as well. So
is there anything you can't accept?
Really anything that's damaged or expired. So at the food bank, any donations that we get in, we have our team of volunteers inspect and sort the products. But definitely those are the two primary things. Anything that's severely damaged or past their expiration date. So
right. At your website, here's the list that I have: rusty cans, unlabeled products. I think this is a given. Alcoholic beverages, homemade items. As sweet as it is that you're making something homemade, leave it for maybe your family member or friend. Open or unused items, which you mentioned.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, so food safety is always a big priority for us, and it's of course something to keep in mind when hosting or planning a food drive as well. We always encourage people to have, some type of a secure receptacle to collect items in, whether it's a large box or you make some sort of a container to collect the items in. So, but these food drives are always so awesome to see around the holidays, and I think hunger and food insecurity really does start to come to the top of mind for a lot of people in our communities around this time of the year, which is awesome to see. But it's also important to remember that hunger's with us 365 days a year. There's not any specific time of the year where hunger is more pronounced or anything, but it's really awesome to see that our neighbors really come together to support our neighbors around this time of the year and allow families to come together for great holiday meals. So
actually, I'm going to be a bit blunt here. Why do you feel now is the time that people really pay attention to food banks and food pantries?
Well, I think, like I mentioned before the break, really that kind of uniting aspect of food, right? Around the holidays, it's just so. We love to get together with loved ones, friends, families, and really, celebrate our coming together and everything that's happened over the past year. Any family events, birthdays, weddings, whatever. It's really a great way to kind of look back on the year and kind of celebrate those things. So I think, like I mentioned, there's nothing like coming together over a good meal. And then, we're always, thinking of our neighbors who may not have that option. And so it's important for us all to be there for them and to lift us all collectively up as a community. So
for those who are hosting a food drive or anything else, what are some storage tips to remember while you're collecting and getting ready to donate those items?
Yeah, definitely. Well, you want to make sure that, obviously your non-perishables, they're safe and secure location, in a dry location. Like I mentioned as well, it's a good idea always to have some type of a collection receptacle, whether that is a large cardboard box or perhaps, those Rubbermaid plastic containers are always really great and durable for being able to transport the donated items. So I'd say those are primarily the main things, and from there, the food bank takes great care with every donated item to make sure that everything's safe and we can properly distribute it to our neighbors. So,
well, with as many applications for food drives, obviously you're not going to turn anybody away, but you would also probably want to tell them to think about, maybe 6 months from now, host a food drive too, along with the one that you're already hosting, I would imagine, because as you mentioned, food and hunger, food insecurity is with us 365.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, it's always important to remember, your neighbors whatever the time of the year. So, but it's so awesome to see the influx of food drives and donations that we have around the holidays. But for sure, because another thing too, like I mentioned, back a few months ago, summer hunger is also always huge. When we have kids out of school, they lose access to at least one guaranteed meal a day. But like I said, it's just so great to really support your neighbors around the holidays. So we really encourage everyone, if you have the capability, to consider hosting a food drive or potentially getting involved in some other ways like volunteering at your local food bank or food pantry, and we can get you set up with that as well. So
centralilfoodbank.org. That's public relations manager Tim Kersenikas. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Avery.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300